congratulations to Mike and your coaches, staff. Good luck to y'all in your conference tournament and postseason. First, the home run challenge that's going on. I want to thank everybody that has donated. I think it's a great opportunity to get their name inside the stadium for the life of the stadium. It'll always be there. So I think that's a great opportunity for people. I want to personally thank all the people that have given to the Home Run Challenge. It means a lot to us and our program and trying to build something that'll be special for a long time. Also, we lost Mr. Vic, our Peanut Man. He passed away. So we want to pass out our condolences from our team and our coaching staff to their family. He was a great friend of mine. I knew him all the way back when I was at McNeese. He would come do peanuts for me at McNeese, our stadium, when he could do it. And so him and I crossed paths a long time ago. And then, of course, here, where at one time they actually tried to take him out of the stadium. And we had to kind of fight to get him back in the stadium. We were fortunate enough to do that and get him back into the stadium. As I told him back then, I know you can bring your roasters in and you don't need him and you can, roast peanuts. But the difference is I need the Peanut Man. It's not about the peanuts. It's the Peanut Man. And so we fought to keep him. He was very appreciative of that when we did it. And we've built a special place for him in the new stadium that he will never see or hopefully will see. But hopefully next season, maybe opening day, we can honor him and his family with naming that area. I know his nephew is going to take over the business and keep it in the family. So I think that's going to be great. That will keep their family in the ballpark. So again, we pray for him and his family and the condolences to them, and just make sure that they know how special he was to us and all our players that have come through here. 1 and 2 week, like Jeff said, we kind of got back on track. Gunner got off the little back spasms that he was having, threw well again. He's just such a special arm on Friday night to be able to do what he does for you. Going into Saturday, the game was close. We answered back, made a couple pitches, that they were able to get critical hits at a critical time of the game and got ahead of us. And then we just couldn't get back. Couldn't catch him. And then Sunday, I thought, Hogan missed a few spots early in the game that got him hurt, one with a 2-run homer, but then he settled down and threw really 7 good innings for us, hung some zeros, and then we felt pretty good. Still we were down 3-1, weren't scoring a lot of runs, but we felt, that the game was reachable, and then, we made a change to the bullpen, and, we let the game get away from us. So, we ended up with a 1 and 2 week. We got to be careful. We got to continue to move forward. Like Mike said, talking a little bit about adversity. I mean, the bottom line is there's no perfect clubhouse. There's no perfect marriage. There's no perfect job. It's how you handle the conflict in the marriage and the job and in the clubhouse. So we've got to work through it. We got a 5-game week this week, 2 good teams. Tuesday and Wednesday, and then another good team coming in this weekend. So this weekend, Friday night's going to be our graduation. Saturday will be senior day for us, and then Sunday will be Mother's Day for us, where we let the mothers throw out the first pitches on Mother's Day. We started this a couple years ago, and we want to continue it going into this Sunday with all the players' mothers being able to throw out the first pitch. So that'll be kind of how we line up Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for the weekend with graduation and senior day and then Mother's Day. So open up the floor for questions you might have.
What do you think about when you consider that Gunner could be working his last game at home on Friday night? And who else do you fear losing that's draftable the most?
Well, the first thing that you've got to look at is the draft eligible guys, whoever's a junior, 21 years of age. So, in the pitching staff, that's Colton Schmidt, Gunner, Wyatt Marks, Guillory. Those are the guys that have had what we call some play, where scouts have asked about them or talked about them. But just because the scouts talk to them, doesn't always mean they're going to get drafted. what scouts do is scouts are fact finders. They find out all the information and push the information on to the cross checkers. The cross checkers then come in and take a look at the players, and then they're the ones who usually put the money value potentially or the round on them. So as coaches, position player wise, you know, you've got all your juniors that are draft eligible, or anybody that's 21 years of age. You know, Sinsley's been talked to and has gotten some play and stuff. So you never know how it's going to work out. I've been in this 31 years. I've seen some guys that were supposedly going to go high and slid. I've seen some guys that might go low and got picked a little higher than you thought. You just don't know how the draft, how it's going to line itself up, and what that club's looking for. When they interview all the players and have their meetings with them throughout the season, they try to get a feel from that player, you know, and what round do you think you might want to go in? Where do you see yourself going in? How much money do you maybe think it's going to take for you to forfeit your senior year? So those conversations are private between the kid, the family, and the scout. The scout then pushes all that information up. It's not the scout that's going to get him drafted. Scouts are information finders. That's all they do is collect the information and send it up the channel. So you never know till draft day. Our sport is just so unique because not only do you have to worry about the players that are going to be drafted, but they're also worried about it throughout leading up to the draft. It's not an easy thing to manage because, you know, is one pitcher going out and throwing harder, you know, because he wants to get drafted? You know, I mean, a lot of stuff gets in their head. You know, if they're struggling, is that going to hurt me in the draft? So there's a lot to deal with. And you also have the high school seniors. You go through a whole exhausting recruiting situation. You finally get all your recruits lined up in November. They all sign. And then in June, you have to let them get drafted. So our summer is so tough because you got to worry about all your juniors. You got to worry about all your renewing and non-renewing. You're losing seniors, but then you're losing juniors. And then you got to go back and deal with all the high school seniors that are getting drafted too. And then you got to deal with that all summer, trying to see who's going to actually show up in the fall. So it's a unique summer. Everybody thinks when baseball's over, coaches have the summer off. Summer's the worst time for us because we're dealing with so much. The juniors that are drafted, all the freshmen that are being drafted, and then now you have to try to figure out if one of them set his number, his signing bonus, is he going to stick to it or is he going to crumble, you know, and sign cheaper? There's so much you've got to deal with, and then some of these guys have advisors, so you got advisors to deal with because they're telling the kid certain things, you know, along the way. So it's a unique thing. So we'll have to wait and see. As a coach, doing it for 31 years, we never try to get out over our skis and start to worry too much. We kind of let it play out because it's going to play out anyway. Why get so wound up about it? The biggest problem that happens is a lot of times kids believe they're going higher than they're really going. So you have to let that settle in. Because if you try to deal with him while he thinks he's going high, he might say that, hey, I'm going to go pro. But then once it happens and he slid, now he might not go. So it's a lot to deal with. You try to deal with it as openly and honestly as you can. Each kid has communicated to us kind of where he is and how he feels and maybe what his money is. It's just once it happens, it's can he stay true to that when the phone call comes in? Some kids can, some kids can't. And so you just don't know. So you just have to let it play out, and we'll see. Far as for Gunner, I mean, you can see what Gunner means to us on Friday night. I mean, he gives you every opportunity to win. And then he basically gives you 2 games to win one, the rest of the weekend to try to win the series. That's such a feather in the coaching staff's cap going in on a weekend series. So if he gets drafted, then you know he got himself drafted. You've got to you've got to pull for them. I mean, they want to play professional baseball. The only thing we try to do through it is to try to educate them as much as we can, because they have the ultimate say-so whether they're going to go or not. The big key is we don't want them getting in blind, because it's a very tough life, very tough life. I mean, you're going to get the signing bonus, and after the signing bonus, you know, you're going to go to work for $1,100 a month. And if it takes you 7 years to get to the big leagues, which you have a less than 3% chance that you're gonna, they have to draw back off that signing bonus. You only get paid for when you play in, so the 6 months that you're not playing, you have no income. So they're drawing down off that signing bonus, and what most of them do immediately is go buy a brand new vehicle. So there goes 30 to 40,000. Taxes, probably another 30, you know, a third's going there roughly. So if a guy signs for 100 and buys him a $40,000 card, pays $30,000 in taxes, he's got $30,000 to live on for 7 years. It's not a lot of money. They think it's a lot of money because you give a 17, 18-year-old senior a $100,000 check, he believes he's wealthy. So it's such a tough thing trying to make sure that they totally understand how the draft works. You either go in as a prospect or you go in as a filler. Because LaCroix went in as a prospect, he was a third rounder. BT went in as a prospect, they were third rounders. So guess what? They need some pitchers to throw against him so they can develop LaCroix and BT. So what do? They're going to draft some guys in the 40th and the 50th round. Those guys think they have a chance to play pro ball. They're not going to play pro ball. They're going to throw to BT and LaCroix. That's what they're going to do. They think they're going to play pro ball. And so then they sign pitchers in the first, second, and third round. What do pitchers need? They need hitters to throw against. So hitters will get drafted in the 20th and 30th and the 40th round. They think they're going to play professional baseball. It's going to be tough because they're going in as a filler, because they have to bat against the people that are prospects. So what you want to try to do, as we tell the families, is try to line yourself up as a prospect to the best of your ability, because prospects get extra chances. A third rounder, he's going to get extra chances over somebody that signs in the 20th round. He just is. So you've got to try to educate them on how all this works so they just don't get in there blind. But if he wants to go, I think last year, I think when we ran the numbers, I don't think there was a senior that got more than $75,000 signing bonus. So the trouble you have with keeping juniors is if they get over $75,000, then the odds are they won't get that the following year. The numbers show that. So it's hard keeping juniors. High school seniors, those are the ones you want to try to keep. I mean, I'd like to keep juniors, believe me. But the problem you have when you get to where our program is now, I mean, just a year ago, you know, we had lost 8 seniors and then 7 juniors. I mean, go to these other sports and tell them to go pick 7 of their best juniors and take them off the field. I mean, man, that is so hard to deal with. Last year, our team getting to the regionals after we lost 7 juniors in the draft, you know, and 8 seniors. And that is tough to do, because when you lose juniors, you're not losing like I wish you could go pick like your 7 worst. You know, you probably want to lose them. But the trouble is you're losing the 7 best ones. You're losing some guys like BT and like Gunner potentially that are game changers for you. But that's the way our sport is. Everybody's going through it. And you have to just try to deal with it. So we'll see. We'll let it all play out, see how they feel, and then we'll work accordingly on the ones that decide to go pro.
Coach, the importance of these 2 midweek games this week.
Yes.
Kind of gauge them or handicap them?
Well, I mean, we got to work to being able to go back to being consistent. You know, there's 3 things in this business you got to do. You got to pitch, you got to play defense, and you got to try to score runs in that order. Our defense has been phenomenal all year. Our pitching's been good. We've got one guy that's leading the nation in strikeouts. Our pitching staff is tied for #1 in the nation in shutouts with Louisville. That's not easy to do as a mid-major. We're first in the league in pitching. We lead the league in less amount of hits given up. I mean, we lead the league in a lot of categories, but we've got to get more consistent at the plate. You know, we can't have, you know, I think we were hitting 194 going into Sunday. And if that's what we're going to do, then we've got to pitch. We got to hold the score down. And both these teams swing the bat well. So, you know, again, we've got to hold the score down. We got to continue to play good defense. We lost Izzy now, one of our best players. But you've got to move on. You can't, you know, cry over spilt milk. You got to keep moving, keep grinding. So maybe playing another 5-game week. You know, we were very good and we were playing 5-game weeks. So, you know, it gives us a chance to get back out. And, you know, sometimes in life when you hit a wall, you got to learn to climb it. I mean, you know, and you always hit adversity in this business, just like Coach said earlier. You know, some of it stays hidden because the good teams make something look easy, and you don't notice they've gone through adversity, like he talked about. Sometimes adversity is noticed. There's different kinds of adversity, but you got to be able to handle it and overcome it. Tough times don't last, just tough people. Like Coach said, when you hit it, you got to stand up and fight. So that's what we have to do. We've got to get some guys to maybe get hot for the rest of the way. I've always believed this. I said it, I think, at the last press conference. Sometimes we get too caught up in what we've lost. We get too caught up, focused on what we let go, what we don't have anymore. When God's always going to take what we have left and do something with it. Whether it's $5 left in your pocket and you've lost all your money, he's gonna take that $5 and do something special in your life. I mean, I said it about the war people, the people that have gone through cancer. I mean, they lose a leg, lose a limb. I mean, they can focus on, you know, I've lost my foot in war, my leg, or I can focus that God's going to take what I have left of me and he's going to do something with me. He's going to use me. And that's the way you have to try to stay focused on this. You know, life wants you to look backwards. It wants you to look at what you've maybe failed to do, what you've lost. And that's why it's so tough being successful. It's so tough being a champion, because champions and successful people don't look back. They don't worry about what they lost. They worry about the last $5 they have in their pocket, and that's what we have to do. Is try to move forward. You know, I've always tried to draw off that. You know, this weekend's going to be special on Mother's Day. I lost my mother in August, and you know, she was one of the most selfless Christian people I've ever been around in my life, and what she had to fight through, what she had to get through, and for 18 years, the battle that she had. So. But I saw him use her. I saw him do so much with her, with what she had left. And I remember she always used to tell me, you know, make the rest of your life the best of your life. So I don't see why we can't do that. I mean, and be careful and focusing on what we've lost. We've got to take what we have left and do something with it. And we have something left. We got a lot to play for. If we don't let human nature kick in and start to show you what you failed to do. That's what human nature says, is focus on what you've lost, focus on what you should have done. We've got to focus on what we can do and what we have left. So those two games are important. We need those to be able to get through our adversity. And I think our adversity is just trying to get consistent in the lineup. I really think if we can get some guys hot in the lineup. Zach LeVleur did a great job picking up for Izzy on Sunday. He reached base all 4 times. That's what we need out of the leadoff hitter. I think we got to do a better job of getting runs driven in. They got critical hits at critical times of the game, and we didn't. And that really is what Saturday's game came down to, is they got a couple critical hits and we didn't. So I think if we can get the hitters, you know, some guys to just have a good back end of the season. So what if you've had a tough front season, or you got it tough in the middle of the season? You know, have a good one at the end. We've got enough games left to do some damage and to do the things that we need to do. And if we have to go into the conference tournament and win it, well, then that's life. I mean, that's what we have to do. Every year is a different team. That's what I said at the beginning of the year. All the rankings and all that stuff at the beginning of the year, that was last year's team. That wasn't this year's team. This year's team is where they're at. because this is this year's team. So what they have to do is decide, do I want to stay where I'm at, or do I want to end in something else? The Omaha team, again, a lot of people don't talk about they needed to win one game to win a championship. UNO came in here and swept us. They lost all three. They got in a 9-game losing streak. A lot of people don't bring that up when they talk about the Omaha team, but it's because what the Omaha team did at the end, and it's exactly what Coach was talking about. A lot of people focus on the end of something. So if that's the case, then you have an opportunity to still do something. If you look at your adversity as an opportunity, and that's what we're going to try to get them to do through the next 2 weeks.
When you're coming off a flat offensive performance, is there anything you can encourage them in this next one day before a Tuesday night game? Is that something that you can try to work on, control, or you just hope it works itself out?
No, I mean, you hope's not a plan. I mean, I hope when I rush in for a heart surgery that the doctor don't hope he can save my life. I don't want the airplane pilot to hope he can land a plane. I'm expecting him to do it. So we try to get him off hope and get him on expectation. But I think hitting is such a unique thing because they fail 70% of the time. It is a mental beast. And you have to be able to handle it. You have to be able to let previous days, previous at-bats go. So the big thing they've got to be able to do is let a bad day go and be able to come back and focus on the next day. That's the one good thing about hitting, is that if you've had a bad day, you get to come back within one day and go back out again. Pitchers, it's tough. You know, when they struggle, especially as starters, they've got 5 days to kind of sit in their mess until they can get back out of it. A hitter sometimes can get back out the next day. So, but the one thing you want to do is you try to get back to your process. You try to stay on your process and not get off the process and get too hooked up on results. And I think hitters can sometimes do that. They 0 for 4, 0 for 6, 1 for their last 10. They know they sometimes get hooked on their results. So I think the big thing you want to do is try to go back to having just productive at-bats, making good contact, using the middle of the field, cutting our strikeouts down. We struck out, I think, 13 times on Saturday. I mean, start there and then move from there, and then try to work collectively. To be good, you've got to work collectively. And I think that's been the thing that's hurt us all year, is that, you know, we get 1 or 2 guys hot, then 1 or 2 or 3 get cold, then 1 or 2 get going again, then we lose 1 or 2 or 3 of them, and collectively we haven't ever been able to kind of stay together. So hopefully we can do that and see more live pitching. We get five games to see a lot of live pitching, and hopefully that can get us back on track.
Any update on Izzy?
Huh?
Any update on Izzy?
No, he's doing his MRI, I believe, today. But he does have a fracture, that's for sure. And what they're going to look for is to see if there's any ligament damage in between the first finger and the thumb. Yeah, pretty much right now. Yeah, we like that. We'll talk today about tomorrow and Wednesday, but I think we're leaning on the same rotation going into the weekend. Yeah.